welcome to our first episode of Horizon Podcast, specially formulated for our new creative millennials in the industry. My name is Ajwa.
My name is Steph.
I'm Angel.
I'm Ricardo.
And welcome to our team. So how are we all? How is everyone doing?
Yeah, all good.
Doing really
Yeah.
well. Doing well.
Yeah.
Nice weather, enjoying the
Can't
sun.
complain.
Exactly.
Just can't fault it really.
Good,
Yes.
yeah.
Glad that everything's back to normal now.
Yeah.
Thank
Exactly.
God. Oh, thank God. How's
Honestly.
work? Like, work on my side is busy as per usual. We are grinding to get
Sure.
happy.
Yeah,
Yes, we
things are
do.
getting busier, but they're still building up, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Exactly.
not like full on intense as I'm quite used to, but
Yeah.
just chill really.
I love my job. I love my boss.
Hi, boss.
Yeah. Won't catch me on camera saying anything bad.
Oh man, so we're going to talk about creatives in the industry.
Yeah.
You know, all of us here are creatives, obviously. So we just want to define and dissect the word creativity and what it means to each and one of us here. So what does creativity mean? What does it actually mean? Because everyone goes online or whatever and say, oh, I'm a creative. But what does it really mean? What does it actually mean?
I think like nowadays everybody can do like a creative spin on pretty much everything that they do, whether it's a creative, like a typical creative job, you know, like an artist, working in marketing, working in like music, TV, film, all of those I guess are standard creative jobs. But you know, people that work in like building and stuff have like creative ways of doing their job now.
Yes.
Like a different way that's like not the to the book of what they did, you know, like somebody might build a wall and do it in a different way
And
to what they're
spin on
told.
it.
Yeah, the spin on it.
Exactly.
Yes.
Like add a couple of nice like bricks here and there,
Yeah.
and it's like people be like, wow mate, that's like really creative.
Yeah.
So I think that creativity is just kind of putting your own spin on things that you do in everyday life.
Wicked. I like that. Just bouncing off what you're saying, the first thing that I think it means to me is basically someone with a brain. someone with a brain.
Just a brain, any brain.
Any brain.
Just think.
Or it's basically an active brain.
Yeah.
Basically an active brain. That's what I'm gonna say. Anyone with an active brain that can just use it, you know, to execute things with that brain, because I just believe everyone in this world is a creative.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and if you don't use your mind in the right way or, you know, right form, I don't know how to even use it, or say it, you won't be creative. Everyone's got that ability to do something great. You just need to activate your brain and believe that you can. So I think everyone's creative in their own space of way. So let's just activate our brain. What do you guys think? What do you guys think?
You know what? I think a creative person just you basically just do what you feel. Okay, cool. We can all agree that, you know, it's basically the way how you can do anything, and so long as you do it your own way, and you don't follow a manual, you don't follow a book. So you're doing it creatively.
Exactly.
You know, we all. Some of us may have jobs in like have 9-to-5s that are not in the creative field. Some people might be have jobs in like finance sectors or anything like that, or people may work in the hospital. But so long as you just do it in your own way, I believe that's creativity. You don't have to exactly be an artist or a painter or you know, just in any type of way, fashion designer. To be a creative person, just do what you feel, do what you like.
Yeah.
It's great.
I like that.
I think as well, like what basically we're talking about is like original thinking, just
Yeah.
original ways of doing things that we've always done the same way. And whether that even be like on your morning commute, you just find the most original way to get a shortcut or something like that. That's being creative, you know, in the moment, you know, spontaneity. So I think even that, and I think obviously everyone's touched upon it. It doesn't just, you know, remain in the arts and the traditional sectors. It's just anything. You can be creative. So yeah, I think.
This is going to be so random and so odd. What does creative writing mean? I'm sorry.
Well,
creative writing.
In school, it was
I don't
like,
understand.
In school, it was like writing like stories and stuff, wasn't it? And not
Creative writing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like free thought is what I think. Like creative writing is writing things that like maybe you're not asked to write about, and it's like you like a biography or
that's a
whatever,
good point.
and that could be creative writing because you're not doing it in the way that you're told
Creative
to.
writing.
Yeah,
Like you've got structured writing, like for example, like they tell you how to write an essay, and it's got structured, so it's got like a beginning and end, a conclusion,
Yeah.
an evaluation, and all that.
I just thought they're just writers.
Oh,
I don't
Yeah,
know
really.
you.
Sure. Yeah, no, they are, but I guess they're creative writers.
It's like, I could be a creative dancer, creative singer.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's the point of putting a creative there? I don't know.
I think it's, to be fair, I think it's a buzzword. Like in job
Yes.
job descriptions, and they're like creative writing. I think they're just using creative as a buzzword, and like wanting you to show how you might portray yourself as being a creative.
Okay. I guess that answer is correct. I'll take it like that. No, because I just feel like the creative bit, I don't understand. I've always wanted to understand why the bit creative is there. I understand you write in different like formulated ways or whatever, but I just feel that the creative bit, I don't think it's necessary to be there. I just think you're just a writer.
Do you have a
'Cause,
bone
yeah.
to pick with an English teacher?
I think I do, because I think I've been scammed in school bare times when it comes to
Yeah.
education. Honestly, I've been scammed so many times. Yeah, it is what it is, whatever. But, you know, us being creatives and anyone else who are millennials in the industry as well,
Sure.
like, do you think you have to put your heart and your soul into everything, you know, just to stay, like, you know, motivated and creative? Do you have to? Like, is it compulsory?
No, I don't think so, because I think for like us, for example, where we might work in more creative job roles, like creative facing job roles, I I work in marketing, for example, so
Yeah.
I think from the outside people like that's a creative job. I don't necessarily love my job every single day. I have tough days at work, like everybody does, and I think that then being able to be like, I put my heart and soul into work today. No, I probably didn't. I did what was required of my job. I know, but realistically, you know, my manager does it, like my manager's managers do it. You have tough days. You're not going to put everything in, like, as long as you get the job done and it's to a high standard, that's fine. That doesn't mean that you necessarily put your heart and soul into it. I think the times that you end up putting your heart and soul into something is when you're working on like a project for yourself, whether that's like a work project or whether you put in like you wanting to explore doing something, you know, maybe you want to like go to the gym, go to like dance classes or something like that. It doesn't need to be like a creative thing, but you might put your heart and soul into it because you've decided to do that yourself.
To be fair, I would argue that like you are on the tough days, you are putting your heart and soul, because that's maybe when you need to put your heart and soul more, because it's the motivation isn't as easily as available. Because I think on an easy day anyone can do anything, but I think on the tough days, there's something that gets you through, and maybe subconsciously is the heart and soul. Of course, I'm not suggesting that you enjoy maybe sending those tedious emails that no one likes to send, but in some ways maybe that also plays a part.
Got you.
Yeah, to be fair, I never thought about it in that perspective before.
Yeah.
Like, I'm always like, oh, today's really hard. Heart and soul into work every day, even if it is a job that you're like really passionate about.
I actually disagree with that, because I think it's on the toughest days where actually you are putting your heart and soul, because let's be honest, no one really likes sending those tedious emails, and I think it's easy to be happy on the easy days, but it's on the hard days where you're having to put your heart and soul, even if it is only subconsciously. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I guess work and your chosen field is like a relationship, and it's in those tough times where you have to put in the most amount of work. So, yeah.
Definitely, I feel like you have your on and off days. If you're doing a job, you at least if you have your tough days, you at least try to see it through. And not without allowing your personal problems or the tough times you're going through to interfere. So a job is a job; it's got to get done.
I agree with everyone and what they have said, but I like to also dive into the fact that why is it the case, or not even why, do we just do our jobs mostly just because we're doing it for money, or that we actually care? I actually love it, because the majority of people just do it, even though they do love it, they just do it because of just money, even though they do love it. Is that the case, or is there a reason that we're doing it, like realistically, that I do love my job? I
think most of the time people do it. I think the tough times, it can be like, okay, you do it just, as I said, just to get by. So most of the time it's kind of for money anyway.
Yeah.
But I think overall that's the aim, is to get money to pay your bills, to work in your other projects or whatever you choose to do with your money. But most of the time it just depends on the job you do, or the field you're in. Then I'm sure obviously what will carry you through is the passion and the desire to actually progress and go further in that chosen field. But overall, I believe it's money.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think for like, as you get older, maybe not when you're younger and you get like your first job and stuff, because your first job is for money, realistically. It's to get experience in the working world. But as you get older and maybe you've got more opportunities for the jobs that you're eligible to like apply for, you're likely to apply for jobs that are interesting to you and that you'd be interested in. But I also think that we'd be lying if we said that we weren't working for money, considering to be able to live and to exist, you need money to do that.
Yeah, exactly.
So of course, like if you can work, I know like they always say like if you're working in the job that you love, like you'll never work a day in your life, but I don't believe that. Like I think, I don't think it's true. I think it's just all these like super rich people that are telling you this, like millionaires, billionaires, and like if you're in a job that you love, like you never have to work a day in your life. It's like easy for you to say that to me, you're a billionaire.
Exactly.
Like me on like less than the living wage in London, like I have to work really hard like to do it. And like there's definitely experiences that I have in that job where I'm like, oh wow, like this is amazing, like I'm so great that I'm being exposed to it. But ultimately the end goal is that I need to work to get money to be able to pay rent to live.
Exactly. And also I just want to add this bit as well. When I don't know if you heard the saying before, that if you actually love your job, you wouldn't really care if you don't get paid or what. You don't care about the money as much. You just do it because you're doing it with your heart and your soul. Do you actually believe that? The money wouldn't mean anything. Have you heard that saying before? Have you heard that? Seriously, have you heard that? No, seriously. I've heard people say that, you know what?
Yeah.
I don't even care about the money. I'm doing it because I love it.
Yeah, but
I've heard that saying before. But is that true?
I guarantee though, for one, they are going to be getting paid. So they're saying that whilst they're being paid. If they're coming from like a volunteer perspective, like maybe that's a bit different. But I imagine that the majority of people that are like, I don't care about the money, are getting paid. So you do care about the money. Otherwise you'd be like, look, manager, don't pay me. Like put that money somewhere else.
Time is money. I don't care. Because at the end of the day, like I think it applies to when you like. Okay, cool. You're starting a business. I think that applies to when you have your own business, not really a job that you're trying to do. If I'm working for someone, I'm not trying to be there for free unless I'm doing it for like maybe 2 weeks, 1 month. I don't even think I can even last a month. Maybe if it's like 2 weeks.
I don't think
work experience or something.
Like work experience. To be fair, like I don't think any of it should be unpaid. That's for unpaid internships are for a select few people that have parents or money that can fund them, and the vast majority of the population is not in a position to work. I mean, you see in London that it's not so much a thing now because I think they've cracked down on it massively. But there used to be like unpaid internships which were working like a full-time job for 3 months, and it's like, oh, you get experience at this high like place. This massive company can afford to pay you. They're just getting free labour. And I don't agree with it. I mean, imagine living in London and working for a company, travelling, commuting, the food's more expensive, rent's more expensive, having to travel and not getting paid for it for 3 months, that's crazy.
How can you even get to work with no money? Like, what are you gonna do? Like, walk or something? Or like hop on someone's back?
No, but you know. But you know what? I do feel like there needs to be a point in life where you shouldn't get paid for these things. I tell you why. They should pay for your travel, I think, because you may not even have any money to actually go to the job to work. But I do feel like everyone in life needs to taste a bit of how it feels to just be a bit low.
Well, if they're not getting paid, they're not tasting anything.
But you need to be at a lower station in life to see how it feels to develop yourself and value money. Just value how things work. That's what I feel.
The thing is,
that's how I see it.
I agree with you're coming from a more like moral standpoint, or like even as a grow within yourself person. I agree, but then also Angel's point is also true.
Very valid,
if you're talking about these, conglomerates and they're not paying you, it's like the big boss is leaving with a big bonus. I'm sure they can pay you. So I agree with what you're saying from your own individual standpoint, but from the company standpoint, it's like no reason not to pay you.
I think as well, like with your point, that's like things that people should be taught in schools. Like realistically, I don't need to know algebra when I leave school.
Hey, this algebra thing is a problem, you know.
But like learning like money management and like taxes and about how to like actually go. I mean, I didn't go to university, so I came straight out of sixth form and went into work, and then like sidestepped my way to get to London. So I started working as a waitress at Pizza Express, ironically, and then sidestep up, and now I'm in the head office. But I left and came back and all of that. And if they'd have taught me how to like manage my money properly, because I went travelling in America, like got into a bit of debt, like spent loads of money that I shouldn't have when I was younger, and then as like an adult actually having to pay for things, I'm like, oh, I didn't need all of that stuff that I bought when I was younger that I don't have anymore and wasted like my money on. But I don't think that like you should necessarily have to work for a massive company that could reward you but chooses not to learn that. I think it should just be learned it should be learned. And you know, we have a free education, it's amazing in the UK, and that's where it should be taught. Like that's a really important thing that I think a lot of people, and I think you're right, like people that are really good with money tend to be those that have suffered the most, like maybe that like their home they're not in the best financial situation, like they've watched their parents struggle. But then there's also this kind of like conversation about, you know, like generationally, are we growing up carrying like the traumas of like our parents and like the things that our families are bit deep, I know. But being like a child and like having to grow up knowing that like your parents can't afford stuff, like then you shouldn't then have to like be stepping out into the adult world, and then you have to experience that because a huge company can't pay you. Like you should just be taught the way to like earn money, and like it's also like respect. You should have enough respect for yourself that even if you are learning and even if you are an intern, that you deserve to be paid for your time. Like
Angel,
I know. I feel very passionate about it. But like you should have, because otherwise I think that then it like it's ripple effect that you've worked for free for this exposure. Like exposure doesn't pay the bills. Exposure doesn't pay your rent.
Alright, here's a question for you two guys. Like obviously you've got your own little businesses going. At some point you might need some external help, but maybe the finances isn't there. How do you then juggle that? I guess you will not be able, you from a moral standpoint won't outreach and hire someone until you can pay them, I guess, or do you also see that side as a business?
Yeah, so obviously like from a business perspective, it's I think it depends the type of business that you want to put forward, and like I outsource like advertising now, for example, and I pay a company to do that. Does it mean that I've shopped around to get the best deal for the money that I have available at the moment? Like yes, I have, but I wouldn't expect to like
one individual to do
that. I wouldn't go to someone and be like, can you do this for free, like I'll give you some of this, like but then I also think I have relied a lot on like my family and like people around me that maybe like have connections, and I like will sit with my friend and be like, do you know how to do this, like can you try and help me do this? Or I'll watch YouTube videos of how to like work it out myself first. But I mean I saw this thing, I think it was like by Grace Beverly. She's like the owner of Shreddy, and like your business is only as big as like the people that you have surrounded it. So I know my strengths and weaknesses, so if I'm working on something and putting like, and I'm not that good at it, like that part of the business can only be as big as like my skill set is. So you have to come to a point where I'm like, maybe I have to sacrifice not launching as many collections as I want to be able to hire somebody and pay them for their expertise, which actually could potentially grow the business more than me just continuing by myself. But I 100% think that you should be paid, like people should be paid for it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I can definitely agree to that. You do need to pay people for their work, but I've also been, because I have a clothing line, I'm a person where like sometimes you may have to just give like a bit of the clothing to the people to like, especially like the models, and say like, okay, keep it, and then you know at least they'll feel like they've got something from the photo shoot. We live in a generation where I feel like people like to take pictures a lot, so maybe using just normal people that I may know that would like to take pictures and are quite photogenic in a way.
Yeah.
It's good to get people like that. You know, I'm not exactly gonna hire a professional model who looks at some of the London fashion shows and stuff like that. I just put it in my my business and where is that today. But I know in the future, I know that's quite important to maybe outsource some other people who's quite experienced in that side of things. I know my photographer. I kind of pay people who money actually pay money to people. Yeah, exactly. Because I'm using the whole money and clothing part of things. So I'm giving people something. But I actually pay people who actually I feel do the most work within the business, like the photographer, the people who edit and stuff like that, behind the scenes.
Yeah.
They I feel like they need to get paid, especially when your business is at a certain point. They need to pay, especially those people, because editing, photography, all that is a lot. Like editing things 6 hours. But luckily, with people who are clothing lines, we can at least maybe give something to the models to say, hey, keep this, keep that, take that, and then at least they're happy with
free
something.
advertising. As well.
Free advertising, free pictures. They'll post it on their Instagram, they'll post it wherever, and they're at least happy with that. So it just depends where you are in your business, really.
Yeah, I like that. I like that answer. And with the schools that are out now, or whatever, just in education in general, I do feel like the curriculum needs to change just a little bit, have a bit of a spin on it, because I feel like when I was in school, years ago.
How many years ago?
Years ago. To be fair, I wish there was some topics that I wish they could have taught us, or just some life lessons, how to handle money, how to do this. Because the things that we're doing now in life, I don't think school has really impacted anything in my life. Like, realistically, it hasn't. I don't think anything.
Well, you made it clear you don't like creative writing and algebra. So.
You know what, algebra, to be fair, the creative writing, we can just put that aside. I don't know why there's a creative bit in the beginning of that whole thing. Put that aside. But the algebra part, I don't understand. Like, if you want to be a mathematician, whatever, then that's your field. But for those who don't, or who are not into that, why are we doing it?
The thing is,
we don't use maths every day in that sense, though. I'm not going to be working doing algebra, no. But I do feel there needs to be life lessons about how you use your money, your credit score, blah, 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 blah. Because this is what we do when we leave school or uni. People in uni are suffering, They are literally suffering, or not maybe now particularly, but I'm guessing things have changed now. But people have been suffering. Noodles... come on.
What's wrong with noodles?
No, noodles is nice. I like noodles,
not every day,
but not every day.
What's it? Idume? No.
Indomie?
Indomie.
Yeah,
That's amazing.
There's there's so many brands out there, but I'm not Indomie, man. I'm not putting it as much. It's too thick.
I feel
anyway,
I feel like there's a huge pressure on like people our age, like younger than us now, but like to be able to work out exactly what they want to do in their lives. Like, I think in some respects, like I feel like uni's a bit too early. Like I think our generation are more likely to be people that will try multiple different jobs, like in completely different sectors before they'll settle in. Whereas like our parents and stuff were more likely to go, like, I mean, my dad like was brought up in the war, so he's quite old. Sorry, Dad. But like, he always has this conversation. He used to have this conversation with me when I was like, I'm going to quit my job, I'm going to move to London, and he was like, no, like you're not doing that. And I was like, yeah, I am. Like, this is what I'm going to do. And then I moved to London with my job, and I was like, I'm going to quit my job and go be a waitress. And he was like, no, you're not. Like, don't do that. And I did it anyway, and it actually worked out better. But he like went into one job, and then basically that was his job for 30, 45 years. So like, I do feel like I think it's a bit different. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I mean, even now I'm like, am I doing exactly what I want to be doing for the rest of my life? Like,
I think it's at any age people feel like that, but I just feel like the basics, the ground level, just teach people upwards. I feel like there needs to be a foundation where people are taught how to handle money. That's what I'm saying. Handle money, how to, carry them finance, all that stuff is very, very important, because a lot of people do not know how to do that, and there should be some form of guide, like you know, you know what? Even in uni, I feel like when you get to university, you should have an idea. Even if you don't, but you should realistically have an idea, because you're at that age where I feel you should have an idea what you're good at and what you like doing. That's what I think. I think that, but every generation is different. Everyone's brain works differently. Everyone feels different.
But do you have the same job now that you had when you just got out of uni?
I didn't go to uni, and and yes.
Oh, okay.
And yes, everyone's thought pattern is different. Everyone's ambitions are different. It can even change. But I do always believe that we shouldn't only do one thing in life. That's my thing.
Yeah.
There should always be some of different type of revenues, different types, different incomes going through. That's what I think. You can't stick on one thing only, because I always say have a plan A and have a plan B, B, C, whatever. There should be multiple, because you never know what can happen. And don't only rely on, you know, yourself, or just be,
don't put all your eggs in one basket.
yeah, just be open. Even if you haven't got an idea what you want to do in life, just explore. That's what I think. And more revenue coming in through, that's what I think, in my opinion.
Well, it's all about the money now.
No, it is about the money. It is about the money, because we need that to survive. But I feel like, you know, at a younger age, we need to be taught how to value money. That's what I think. When you get to an older age, then you can now experiment with money and understand how it works. But I feel like everyone should also have a mentor as well. You do need a mentor, I think.
I would love a mentor.
A mentor is very good. You need one. It is just really helpful. It guides you in the right path of what you should do. If you have questions, you can ask them. It's quite helpful, and I think everyone should have one. If you can't access one, an auntie, an uncle, someone advise you. You do need that older figure to help you guide your path sometimes. I feel that's the right way.
A lot of people's mentors nowadays is like social media. Though. I feel like that's what they look up to, and they're just on their phones all the time anyway. I mean, people are barely even coming out the house nowadays. Like they're just sitting on the phone.
It's the phone.
Scrolling up, and that's what they see is someone with a big car, someone with a big house, and that's what they just watch YouTube all day long.
Yeah.
That's what they see as their mentors. Like, I look at people like Patricia Bright all the time. I'm saying she's doing amazing things, but if I'm just sitting at home just watching Patricia Bright and I'm not actually going out
and doing something to get to
and
that level or more, then it's just,
how can I get there?
how are you ever going to get there?
You know?
So, you know, I feel like if we're doing anything in a creative field or whatever, I feel like it's not necessarily you have to put your heart and soul into it, but you know, at the end of the day, you will, because it's your job, it's your life, it's your career, it's your path. So you're gonna put everything in it at the end of the day, regardless, anyway, because it's what you're doing for your career. So that's what I'm saying for that. Okay. So with that being said, we are just gonna wrap up everything, and we just want to say thank you to everybody watching this episode, our first episode. Thank you for joining us, and we will be back soon.
Bye.
See ya.